I'm here with Eric Weisinger today. We're going to be talking about a winery that we're going to be putting on the market. And Eric is intimately involved with that and knows a lot of detail. And so Eric, tell us your background and your company.
Sure. The company that I have is Eric Weisinger Wine Consulting. And the vineyard service company I have is Southern Oregon Vineyard Services. I've been in the wine industry now for about 21 years, about 15 of those as a winemaker. The majority of that has been here in Southern Oregon, but in the last probably 5 years or so I've been traveling between Australia, New Zealand, California, Oregon, working as well.
Good. Well, let's talk about Jim and Alice Nowakowski's vineyard. It's called Alice's Vineyard, but the name will not go with the vineyard. It will be the name of whomever buys it. And so it's an unusual situation and really a great opportunity for a buyer to have their own winery. So tell us a little bit about that and what you know about it and how you're involved.
Well, Alice's Vineyard is a very unique piece of property. It's there's a 2-acre Riesling vineyard up there. There's a production facility that will produce currently about 400 cases of premium wine.
Let's talk about the water and the exposure to the sun and that type of thing. Tell us a little bit about that and how that is effective for growing wine.
The quality of any wine is really a reflection of the quality of the fruit, and so it is paramount that you have a good vineyard site. Jim's site up there is at 3,200 feet, which I think is actually the highest vineyard in Oregon. It's a west-facing vineyard. It's on a fairly steep slope, so you get lots of sun. The soil itself is it's fairly thin topsoil with quite a bit of sandstone underneath. So one of the things that is not necessarily always good is to have extremely fertile soils with grapevines. They like to struggle a little bit. Sometimes when they do, it produces that slightly higher quality fruit. So overall, it's one of the more unique vineyards in the area. And in fact, just the other evening, I was having dinner with some friends who are wine critics and had a bottle of Riesling, which we had produced from Jim's, and I didn't tell them where it was from.
Great.
They were both very impressed with it. When I told them that it came from Ashland, they didn't think I was serious. They thought it was that good.
That is wonderful. That's great. The winery itself is to the side of the home and overlooks the Rogue Valley and Immigrant Lake. It's absolutely spectacular. How many barrels does that building actually hold?
The barrel cellar will comfortably hold 11 to maybe 13 barrels. That's with the current configuration. There's room to add on to that barrel room, which would almost double the number of barrels which could be stored in there. Jim has put together a really perfect small production facility. I work in facilities here in Southern Oregon that produce maybe 1,000 cases, sometimes 2,000 cases. When I work down in New Zealand or Australia, I'm working with wineries that are producing 400, 500,000 cases.
Wow.
One of the challenges about working in smaller facilities is the equipment. How much equipment you have, what's the quality of that equipment. Jim, when we were setting all this up, said to me, I want to have the very best small facility possible. And so what we did is we went out and we purchased really nice equipment. It has everything that a larger production facility has. It's just smaller.
Great, and we will have a list of the equipment that's there, so people can take a look at that. So Eric, is there anything you'd want to add or just comment and just to let us know that maybe we haven't covered?
Well, I think that one of the exciting things about Jim's property is Alice's Vineyard, and the fact that there is a really beautiful boutique, ready-to-go winery up there that has already established itself a little bit of a reputation.
Great.
And I think that Southern Oregon is only going to grow. We're still in the infancy of the wine industry here. I mean, 20 more years from now, we'll look back and say, this was when we were really getting traction.
How many actual wineries are there in the valley now, in southern Oregon?
Well, in the Applegate and Rogue Valley areas, there's about 30.
So it really is a young industry. I mean, actually, isn't it?
It is. It is. I've been in the industry here for 20 some odd years and have seen it grow a lot. When I was first got into the industry, there were only 6 wineries within the Rogue and Applegate areas.
And what do you think? I mean, people are going to compare us with Napa, with you know, the Willamette Valley, etc. And how do you think we're going to compare down the road?
Well, I think that Southern Oregon as a wine growing region is very unique because we have the ability to grow so many different types of grapes. We aren't just a Pinot Noir region. We aren't just a Cabernet Sauvignon region. We can grow Riesling, a Tempranillo, Syrah, and Chardonnay. That's really one thing that's already setting us apart. There are very few places in Oregon that can grow Syrah, for example, or good Cabernet Franc, and other varieties that are beginning to come out. We have the heat here. We have a fairly long growing season. It takes a while for any wine region to establish itself.
Exactly.
And Southern Oregon's now 30 some odd years into it, and it's beginning to show.
Great acreage there, and it is an estate. The home is beautiful. The outbuildings are gorgeous, and it's also very efficient. I mean, it's set up to actually work. And so, would it be possible, based on what you know, to add more more vines to the property?
Yes. There is area down around where the vineyard is that could be cleared, and you could expand the current acreage, which I believe is about 1.8 to 2. I believe that you could almost double that.
Eric, we talked about the fact that maybe a buyer will come in and they'll want to just hire you to do it all and continue to do that, or you would just consult, and you mentioned how that would work.
Yes. Some of the clients that I work for, I do pretty much everything for them. I have other clients who have hired me for a 4 or 5 year period, where I come in and I teach them how to do it. I teach them how to make wine, because I feel that in those cases the consultant's job is to really work themselves out of a job. And so there are certain people that's exactly what I'm doing for them. I'm bringing them along, teaching them how to produce wine, how to grow grapes. It is something that takes time, and that's one of the services that I offer.
Exactly. Well, great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Eric.